Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jean Gallagher with Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. And I'm here with Denise Stegall, our longevity specialist. Hey, Denise.
Hey, Jean, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
We have some fun things to talk about today. We're going to talk about win, and you're going to tell us what that means.
Yes, we are going to win with WIN. So, a little backstory. One, I love acronyms. So, WIN is an acronym here. A friend of mine, a new friend of mine, she and I were talking about longevity, different aspects of longevity, specifically in this particular conversation, Alzheimer's and dementia, and how nutrition can really benefit people today, and the people who to avoid getting dementia or slow the cause of slow the disease, or for those people who have been diagnosed, how nutrition can help them. So she kept asking me, well, what's the win? Like, what's their win? Eating, a better diet, a better diet. What does that mean? And what's the win if they make these choices? So does it make sense to say to someone who has never been in, who's never participated or partaken in a healthful diet and really thought about it in that way? What's their win? How do they celebrate these changes? So WIN, the acronym, stands for Whole Foods, Inspired Choices, and Nourishing Practices. And for those people who have been listening to Discover Rising Tides for a while, they'll understand that that correlates exactly with the foundation that I talk about all the time: eat real food, make good decisions, and be accountable. So, Whole Foods. So we start with Whole Foods. And Whole Foods it's like the foundation, like building a house. If you're going to build a house that you want to stand, with sand, wind, and rain, and tornado, or whatever crazy weather patterns we've got, right? Or just stand the test of time, you need good, solid footings. So Whole Foods is important because for people who this is new to, they need to understand what that foundation is. And that, of course, being your unprocessed foods, your fruits and veggies, whole grains, beans and legumes, lean proteins, and fatty fish. So that's the foundation. And why that's important is we're kind of looking at this as something new to people, or at least this group of people that I was talking about. And for people who are just starting or partaking into this new journey, saying to them, okay, we want you to change your diet, and not give them real instructions as to what that means, is really detrimental to their success. So, for example, somebody comes to me and says, I've been diagnosed with prediabetes and I'm supposed to eat better. I think I'm going to try keto or paleo or vegetarian. These are the diets with the big D. That's not where we start. Those are kind of like Whole Foods 2.0, or maybe even 3.0. Again, we need to start with those foundations. And then once they have a foundation in Whole Foods, they can then make an informed choice, inspired choice, which is actually the I we'll talk about another time, as to whether they want to follow one of these diets with a big D, as opposed to the Whole Foods diet, meaning the foods that they're eating, that doesn't take any particular food group out of what they're eating.
And as they're starting on this or embarking on this journey, I think that the best thing to do, or the first things to do, which are the most appropriate, would be, is this a process thing out of the box? Yes or no? Follow the flow chart. And let's find those veggies and beans and legumes and lean meat and fatty fish and start to replace them. That's the little d, getting the good habits. And then once those good habits are in place, I love what you said, it gives them the foundation to move on to a more strict is the wrong word, but a more finite definition of
tailored. Let's just call it a more tailored way of eating. Absolutely. Because exactly. First, I just say use the word tailored, and I thought of a pair of pants that I just recently bought that that need to actually go to the tailor. You go to the store and you buy a really nice pair of pants. And you're a woman, you understand this. What you're always told is you have to buy a pair of pants that fit your biggest part, right? So for me, I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a fencer for many, many years. So my right leg is an inch thicker than my left leg.
Oh,
So
really?
my pants, yeah, it's crazy. Still to this day, I haven't fenced since college. So I have to buy a pair of pants that fit my body, fit that leg, which is, let's call these
And the
pair of
left
pants the
leg just comes along
foundation.
for a ride.
Exactly. It's the foundation. And then once I have those pants, yes, I need to tailor them so they fit the waist and they fit my length. So that's another kind of way to think about it. You've got to get the pair of pants first before you can take them to the tailors.
That's a good analogy. That makes sense.
So when we're looking at Whole Foods, and this is kind of, again, what's the win in this? What's the win in having a variety of colors in your food and a variety of nutrients? Like, what does it even mean? Yes, we want foods that are rich in essential vitamins and minerals and antioxidants because they're great for overall health. What the heck does that even mean? Right? For those of us who've been doing this for a while or who do this for a living, yeah, this is a no-brainer to me because I know this. I've been through this a few times. But what does it mean to somebody who's really just embarking on this? It means better energy, increased energy. It means, I love this one, improved digestion. You mean my stomach's not it's supposed to gurgle every time I have something to eat? No, it's not supposed to gurgle. And you're not supposed to keep running to the bathroom 20 and 30 times a day. Eating your whole foods will help you digest food properly and actually eliminate food properly as well. They go together. We talk a lot about the gut microbiome. That's kind of kind of been a buzzword for the last 10 years, or I guess gut microbiome is 2 words. And we hear about this and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, eat yogurt, right? Because it's supposed to help with your microbiome. Again, what does it even mean? Yeah, it's healthy for us, eat yogurt, that's good for you. But it helps to decrease, again, I'm going to go back to the digestive issues, constipation and bloating, because you have this good bacteria in your gut that's eating any of the bad stuff that's already in there. And, in this day and age, it's hard to avoid all processed foods. It's hard to avoid all toxins. So if you have a good, healthy gut microbiome, it's going to take care of the times that, you eat something or ingest something or, you have something that's not whole foods or is not the best for you.
Yeah,
Right?
if you're eating a well-rounded whole food diet, you're also going to be touching on the fiber piece as well, which is really very important. And can we just kind of derail this for just a second and talk about what people might think of, when you say eat fruits and veggies and the difference between eating an orange and drinking a glass of orange juice is huge.
Absolutely. So you nailed it on the head. It's about the fiber content. Think about it, when you eat an orange, you get rid of the peel, but you still have some of the cellulose, that white stuff that's on the orange. That's really good stuff for you. I had a teacher back in the day, I might have been in 7th grade. She would peel the orange and then take the peel and kind of with her teeth, scrape off the cellulose, because it was in her mind, it was the best part of the orange because it was healthy. It was the fiber. So when you eat the orange with some of that cellulose, I wouldn't recommend doing the thing with the peel because it is kind of bitter and it looks kind of weird. You are getting all of the nutrition from the orange. You're getting the vitamin C, you're getting the fiber, you're eating, the skin, all of those things that make an orange healthy. You get the sweet, so you get a bit of sugar in the form of fructose that's in fruit, hence the name fructose.
But
and
you're
so that
also
one
not getting the
orange,
sugar spike that you do out of the glass of orange juice.
yes. Now think about your one orange. If you squeeze that one orange, how much juice do you get out of it? Like this much if you're lucky. So think about how many oranges they have to squeeze to get an 8 ounce. Why anybody would drink an 8 ounce glass of juice? But we grew up being told that that was healthy. You know, a glass of orange juice. This. Do you know how many oranges have to be squeezed to get that? I actually don't know the number, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And so with that, you're getting all of the sugar and the flavor. Maybe you're getting some of the nutrition, but you're not getting any of the fiber. So when you eat the orange, it actually digests slowly, and the fructose doesn't spike your sugar, your glucose levels. When you drink that orange juice, that concentrated sugar, basically, you drink it and it elevates your glucose levels. And that's one of the challenges when people are diabetic. You know, their glucose, they can't maintain it. For those of us who are not diabetic, when we have the glass of orange juice, yes, our glucose spikes, but then our body naturally knows how to kind of bring it back down. Not unlike having a candy bar, a lot of the calories in juice and the calories in the candy bar, they're all sugar calories.
Mm-hmm.
And so your body really doesn't know the difference between sugar and sugar. And so with the candy bar, you spike. With the orange juice, you spike. No fiber. Maybe if you've had a Snickers, there's some nuts in there. So maybe there's a little bit of something. But for the most part,
you're kind of reaching for a justification for the Snickers bar.
Exactly. Instead, maybe we should just have a handful of nuts.
Right, there you go. But it is important. Exactly. It's important to get help as you're going through this process. And that's where you come in, to be able to help people make this transition from processed to whole food, and then understand the rest of the win components to make it a win. Is that kind of corny?
Yes, no, it works to make it a win because, we want to win when it comes, we want to succeed. When I think of this, I think of winning as succeeding. When I prepare, when I was an athlete and I would, I practiced and I prepared and I would do my mental, what I didn't know what it was called back then, but, really, kind of thought about what I was doing and how I was going to compete that day. That was that was like the preparation, because what did I want to do? I wanted to win the competition, right? So the preparation for me in that particular instance was what I think of as the, eating the whole foods, because once we do that, we can win and we can succeed in either losing or maintaining our healthy weight. We can extend our longevity because we're going to avoid all of the chronic diseases, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease. So that's a win. If we can avoid those or, reverse them, that's a win. And that's exactly what I want people to understand.
Thank you. Thank you for this. And I look forward to the rest of the win. Hello, everyone. This is Jean Gallagher, Discover Rising Tides, and I want to just take a moment to talk about my friend, Denise Stegall. I am honored to call her as a friend, and I'm so grateful that she gives us her insight during our shows, each show, and talks about healthy living, eating real food. You hear Denise say, eat real food a lot. Well, she means it, and she knows what she's talking about. She is an amazing healthy living coach, curator at Living Healthy List. And if you ever have any questions about what is real food, why does it matter, how does that apply to me, how do I change, what do I need to do, how do I even create a healthy living shopping list, make sure that you call her. She is your healthy living coach, and you can find her at healthylivinglist.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. My name is Jean Gallagher, and welcome to the show. I'm very excited today to introduce to you our guest for today, and Katie Spadoro. So, hi, Katie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Before we get started, and let's give us a little bit about your background, and then we'll dive in.
For sure. So my background is in human resources. So I'm actually from New Jersey originally. I went to Rutgers, and I spent some time in South Florida, and I then was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I started my company. And it's called CYB Human Resources. We specialize in small businesses, helping them expand and grow, replacing the need for the in-house HR experts. So they don't really need to hire in-house HR until they truly feel like that's something they want to do. We help them build their HR infrastructure out. We help them on a day-to-day basis with management of employee questions, issues, conflict that comes up, just helping their business grow and expand without, risk of EEOC charges and lawsuits and all of those things. So a lot of back and forth, and it's an intimate experience working with these smaller businesses because we get to give them our one-on-one attention and support.
Such a needed service for small businesses, and I want to get into that. But first of all, what brought you to create this organization that's so needed?
Yeah, actually, so I was working in house HR for years, and I realized that I just felt like I didn't have as much of an impact as I would want to have when I was working in house. There was never enough budget. There was never, I felt like I was kind of just there because they wanted to have that HR seat full, and it was not exactly my favorite part of this experience. So when I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, I realized and recognized the need as I met small business owners for human resources. I would ask them, who does your HR? And they'd say, well, my mom runs my payroll. And then I'd ask them about their employee handbook, and they'd say, yeah, it's in my closet, or my mom wrote it in 1992. And I would say, did anybody sign it? And they're like, no. So basically, there was just a very lack of understanding of what human resources actually was, and why it was so important to have it in place if they were actually planning on growing and expanding. So started consulting with them, and it's grown into what it is so far today.
Larger companies larger corporations have the resources to fund the department to handle all of that and stay up on all of the changes that happen dynamically. But like the example that you just gave is perfect, because for small businesses, their focus is their business.
Yeah.
They are not HR people, and it's expensive to have an in-house HR department.
And it's not easy to hire for either. So, I mean, there's multiple levels there. It's a lot of people, like I said, have been working in their family business their whole life. They've never even known what an HR department is or what an HR professional does. So the lack of knowledge there is one of the things. And then a lot of times we bring on clients who have tried to hire human resources professionals themselves, and it has not been successful. And there's multiple reasons for that. But for me, for example, it's like if I use this example, if I tried to, I needed an IT person, and I just found an IT guy and he says, I do IT. I'd be like, cool, sounds great. Like, you're in. Like, I don't know the technical questions to ask that person to know that they actually know what they're talking about. So very often, people can talk their way into these positions, and then they come to us like a year or two later and they're like, we just don't understand what we're doing wrong. We hire HR people that say they do HR and they're not really doing anything. And a lot of the times that's what it is. So as a small business, I mean, you mentioned the budget and things like that. It's really important to keep in mind that this is the mindset I had when I first started out was, I'm so small, what could possibly go wrong? Why would the government, look at me? I'm a 1-man, 2-man, 3-man show. And then turns out that that's not the case, because as a small business, the government knows that you with 10, 20, 30 employees does not have a in-house team of attorneys. You are not Johnson & Johnson. You don't have an HR department with 5 people. You're just very, a lot of the time unprotected from a lot of the things that can happen. So it's more that you are potentially a target, not that you are not even being looked at all. So that's
interesting.
Yes, for sure. It's an experience.
Yeah, and it's not it's how much can go wrong. It's that 1 or 2 things that can go sideways that can financially really impact that small business.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, one EEOC charge, we only work with clients that are really trying to do the right thing. We've gotten to the point where we're able to really determine if this client is going to be a good fit for what we do. We're very picky about who we work with. And an EEOC charge, a lot of the time they come to us after they've received that, and they'll say, well, we thought we were doing everything right. We did the best we could. We were being nice people. We were being good people. And we got this EEOC charge that's requiring us to, mediate. We have to pay out $200,000. And we just can't afford to do that. So it's really, really expensive to not do it right the first time, for sure.
And so I'll go back to that original example, the mom and pop business and the family members running payroll. And that seems like, what else would you need, right? We're
Yeah.
paying our employees and
They're
that's
getting
it.
paid.
And what I didn't realize is that you would think that the smaller companies wouldn't be on the radar as much as a larger company, but it's really not that way then.
It is not that way. And I've seen it multiple times. I've experienced it myself in different areas, obviously not in HR. But I use the story of the fact that for some reason, I figured that I could do my own accounting because for some reason, I took a accounting class in college. I dropped it the second week because I was like, I don't know what's going on. I prefer not to do this. And then I started a business and it was just me. And I was like, I could probably do this. How hard could this possibly be?
It's
And
just
I
QuickBooks.
do it exactly. Like I'm using, QuickBooks and I have no idea what a debit and a credit is. And I'm just like I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
Using TurboTax, trying my best, like everybody else. And eventually it came to my attention that I was not doing it properly, which was not fun to learn and took time and energy and money and things that I could have very much avoided if I had just said, let me hire a CPA upfront. I know it's expensive, but let them set it up right the first time, because the undoing of the problem is not fun or cheap.
I can appreciate that too as a small business, but for me, my small business is just me on purpose.
Yes.
And I'm choosing to be a sole financial advisor on purpose.
Yes.
Because I've trained people and hired people and in the past in other types of businesses, and just not my jam. However, the best thing that I ever did for me and my business was hire a CPA.
There you go. Same.
Oh.
I'm planning on writing a book one day, and I'm going to have an entire chapter about how important it is to hire a CPA. It's just hire the experts in general. Like you are an expert, whatever, shoemaker, and now you have a company with 30 employees. There's so much more to that business than making the shoes. So
it's that passing of risk and passing of risk and responsibility.
Yes. Like you can't do it all. Nobody can do it all. So.
And so what type of businesses you said you're choosy about the types of businesses that you work with, and what types of businesses do you work with?
So we are industry agnostic. So if you have employees, we work with you. It's more about the people that we're working with. So if we are, meeting people, and I actually spoke to someone earlier today, and they had they're in benefits, and they had a conversation with one of their clients, and they told them the law, and the clients were like, okay, well, we're just probably not going to do it that way. And, if you're not going to really listen to the guidance that we're able to give, then we're most likely not a great fit. Like we are here to support you. If there's a way to do what you want to do and it's legal, we'll definitely help you do it. But it's more about the people that we're working with, and it's less about the industry. We do work a lot in, blue collar, lots of construction, HVAC. We work in restaurants, bars, all food and beverage. Energy is a big one as well. Those are energy. I'll tell you right now, oil and gas, energy, and construction. Those are my two favorite industries to work in, because our team is super down to earth. And so what we're doing is we're working with just some real down to earth people that want to do it right. They're open to new suggestions. They're coachable, things like that.
I like that. I really like the fact that the people make the difference.
Yes.
And in this day and age where everything is virtual, and that virtual can be really impersonal.
Yes.
And the fact that you are not only providing a service, but you're providing the people behind the service and want to have that interaction with companies, that's impactful. And almost, it doesn't seem like it would be normal in your industry either, right?
Well, yes. So when we first started I started the company right before we started in 2015. So everything was in person. And my long-term thought process here was I really wanted to give an opportunity to, obviously I'm a woman, and I wanted to give an opportunity. HR is heavily woman focused. Most HR professionals, there are some great men in HR, but primarily they are women in the industry. And there was not a lot of options for women to work part-time in HR or work remote in HR. It was either your full-time HR or your not
Not,
working at all. So you were not able to, you know, really have a family or travel or be outside or enjoy time, spending time doing anything else because you had to be in the office and I had to drive there. So the goal long term, and COVID essentially pushed that along because all of a sudden, a lot of the business owners who were like, no, we need everyone in-house every day, all the people. And number one, you don't. And I knew that. But that was something that I think a lot of business owners were like, oh, well, you know, you're right. My accounting team, my CPA is outsourced. We just meet, you know, a couple times a month or whatever. And we can meet virtually. And so the same thing went with HR. It was like, oh, you're right. I don't have to pay someone to sit in my office all day, every day, to be in HR when I can work with a team of experts. So you know what you're getting. And we have a lot of experience, years of experience across all industries, headcounts, locations. So it's definitely a great opportunity for a growing business. It's a perfect setup.
And do you have different types of support that are scaled for a business size?
Yeah, absolutely. So our outsourced HR packages are our primary, are what we focus on primarily. So we have an HR assistant, an HR generalist, an HR director, and then an HR department. And those are based on headcounts. So we do have clients, you know, that are as small as 5 couple employees up to clients that have, you know, a couple hundred employees. And the way that we function in those areas are we're supportive HR. They may have an HR team available. We're really supporting that process, helping take some pressure off of them. And then the lower headcounts, we are really the HR professional at their company. We have a primary designee that we meet with, but we help them make the tough decisions, the tough calls that they have to make, stay up to date on compliance. We also have a HR hotline, and the HR hotline is both management and employee facing. So that's unique to CYB. And that was something that came about by me working with these smaller businesses when I was living in Tulsa. And I would say, how are you doing? You know, how's your HR? And they're like, oh, we love each other. We're a family owned business. We'll never have any problems. And then they call me 6 months later and they say, hey, Sally is suing me. So can you help me? And I'm like, well, I can help you not do it again. But at this point, we have to call your attorney because you were not proactive in the situation. So that was where the hotline really came from, was the idea that how do we get into place prior to these things spiraling out of control? So the hotline is there for employees to reach out, for managers to ask questions, for team members that, you know, there may be a specific HR update they saw. They don't know what it means. They can chat with us, give us a call. So that's available. HR in a Box is a real starter program for smaller businesses. So it provides the basics to set you up for success. And we have, you know, HR 911 or HR Rescue. That's kind of a overall, we do audits through that. We do that. I have some crazy stories through HR Rescue of people that thought they were good to go. And then they're like, oh, no, I'm not. And they call and they're like, we've gotten ourselves in this giant hole. This is the problem. What can you do? So those are things that, yeah. So, you know, I mean, and those go across the board, from harassment to violence to bullying to things that they never thought would happen to them. And they just don't know what to do next. So we love it. We love what we do. And we have some great clients for sure.
That must be fascinating to work through.
It's nonstop. It's lots of fun. I love it. And I was just writing I do a lot of content and a lot of posts and videos and things like that. And that was one of the things that I had mentioned, that if you're the kind of person that wants to sit behind a desk and, you know, 9 to 5 in your cubicle and peace and quiet, do your work and then go home, HR is not for you. That is not the vibe. Like, you need to be excited about new projects. You need to be able to, you know, change your mind and move around on a dime and answer different phone calls, especially working with multiple clients. So it's challenging enough in-house HR because you have a certain number of employees, but when you're working with multiple clients, you really need to be able to prioritize and, you know, pick up the phone and remember exactly where you were with that person and all of that stuff. So there are definitely people that are great and really this is the perfect opportunity and position for them. And there's some people that it's not, and that's cool. You know, we need everybody for those things. So that's it. I knew going into my career growing up that sitting behind a desk 9 to 5, just doing the exact same thing every single day was not going to keep me keep my attention. I would get
Mhm.
extremely bored. So now
Yeah.
I'm in an industry that's never boring. It's perfect.
So what does it look like? So two questions. First is, what does it look like when you're bringing on a new client? And then what's there once the onboarding is done, what kind of reactions do you have from these clients? Of, is it relief? Is it just, thank
Yes.
goodness I have somebody to call?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So we do initial calls, and up front, I do a quick initial call, and then I'll set them up, for a most likely an HR road mapping session. However, some people we can right off the bat after the first initial call, I'm able to determine that we're a good fit for them. So once we do that, we onboard them, and it's not a hard sell in the sense that if you have employees and you don't have an HR expert in-house who's certified, we're the answer. That's it. And, we're different from PEOs, as we're proactive in the sense that we work alongside PEOs often. Some clients have PEOs that they utilize for payroll and benefits, and we're the person that is that in the middle person. So,
but before you go any further, I'm really glad you made that distinction, because some people might, well, I have this, why do I need that? Because they say they do some of this.
Yeah. So yeah. I've worked in-house, and I've utilized PEOs before, and they're good for certain situations for sure. And some situations they're just not a great fit for, and I'm not going to name them, the ones that I've worked with that aren't great. But overall, HR really needs to be proactive. And in my opinion, a PEO in general expects that somebody in-house has some HR background or knowledge. And the reason I say that is because the PEO may say, hey, we'll do everything. We'll do your payroll and your HR and all of your things. However, if you are the owner of the business and you don't know the difference between a performance improvement plan and a corrective action, you don't even know the questions to ask the PEO to get the help. So the PEO is not reaching out to you typically and meeting with you on a regular basis and saying, hey, I'm noticing X, Y, and Z, or this is why this would be a corrective action. So it's more educational and hand-holding. And like I said, it's more of a one-on-one experience working with one person than, dialing a PEO. I remember I sat in the office when I was in-house and I just started HR, and I had a girl crying in my office, and I was like, okay, I guess I just call this PEO. So I call them and I tell them, hey, this girl's freaking out. She's losing her marbles right here. Like, what do I do? So I repeated the story. I told them the whole story. It's a 10-minute story. And then they say, oh, okay, well, great. Let me transfer you. So I get blind transferred to somebody else. Meanwhile, this girl is not having a great time. And I'm there going, don't worry, we're fine. So they transfer me. Somebody else picks up the phone. Hi, how can I help you? Somebody totally new. I've never talked to you before. They want to hear the whole story. I'm saying, okay, well, I just told Sandy the story. Why do I have to tell you again? She's like, oh, well, I just don't know. So please tell me. So I have to tell her the 10-minute story. And they go, oh, okay, great. Don't worry. Let me transfer you. So I transfer to somebody else. At this point, I'm concerned this girl's going to actually, pass out. I don't know what's going on. And nobody's helping me. Nobody knows my company. Nobody knows me as an individual as to like how I typically want to handle this situation. So it's just a higher level. How do we make sure you don't get sued versus a intimate, I'm dealing with a human being here, and I want to make sure that she's safe and that she's happy and that she's healthy, and that I need somebody on my side that's going to be honest with me, know the company, know the culture, know me, and answer the question without me having to, repeat the story 12 times to people that don't know me at all.
And
so that
don't necessarily want to know either.
Exactly. That's not their job.
Right.
Job is to make sure you don't get sued, essentially. And, they do payroll and benefits, and a lot of them are great. I'm not saying that PEOs aren't a great fit for a lot of companies, but the smaller businesses really that we focus on, in general, PEOs are not typically a fantastic fit for most of them.
And I mentioned it before, but it keeps coming up, and I think it's just so important to spotlight. And something that you said, that know the company and know the individual, but also want to know the company and want to know the individual to help the company keep their employees safe, happy, and healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so encouraging and so personal in this remote living that we're all in. And it's just refreshing to hear.
Thank you. That feels really good, because that really was starting point of this company, I never want that experience made me feel I never want to create a business that is that. I never want to have a client that feels like they're just another number and that nobody knows who they are and that we really don't care and they're just another ticket. Like that's not, I want, and that's as a small business owner myself, I feel the same way. I like working with, you know, benefits companies and payroll companies and businesses that when I call them, they know who I am. I have a contact. We know each other.
Right.
It's just a comforting feeling, like you're saying, especially in this remote environment where everyone is remote and it's just we move so quickly and whatever, and it just doesn't matter and they don't care. And that was a big part of creating CYB, is that I always want everyone to feel like they're getting that personal touch and that experience that I want as a business owner and that, you know, many other business owners want as well.
Yeah, that's really important. And when I work with small businesses on the other side and support their, you know, their financial education support and their 401k plans, it is important for me to make sure that the employees know that they can just call me.
Yes.
This is it's not a service. It is a service, but it's not a service. It's a personal service that I'm here for you at whatever level the you is, whether it's the employee or the employer, knowing that there is somebody out there that's paying attention and that actually cares.
For sure. Like you're calling, we do a lot of, you know, when we bring on clients, a lot of meet and greets up front. So our HR team will meet with you and your employees directly. We introduce ourselves. We tell them, you know, we are available. We are here for you to support you in the good and the bad and the ugly. This is my face. This is my phone number. Send us a text message, give us a call. Like this is what we're here for. So we're not just really hiding behind the logo of CYB and saying, we're back here if you ever need us. It's more, this is
Hope
who
you
we
don't call.
Yeah, give us a call. Maybe we don't know who will answer or who you'll hear back from, but maybe you'll hear back at some point. So they know who to talk to, and it's a comforting feeling. I know that, like I said, as a business owner and you too, as yourself, like it's a comforting feeling to know who am I trying to get in touch with instead of just calling a massive company and saying, I'm not asking for an individual person. I'm just saying help. Like
Yeah, well, you know, if you're calling a customer service and you need help with something personal or whatever, and you're getting a representative, sometimes in the United States, sometimes not, sometimes the only education is what they're reading off the AI is telling them off the screen. And that's just frustrating.
Super frustrating. If you even get to a representative.
It's true
I'm
that
like screaming in the phone. They like make me repeat my name 22 times. Like I'm like,
if you can make it out of the VRU, you're doing
exactly.
well.
If I can make it out of like the number dialing portion of it, and I finally get somebody on the phone, they still, you know, don't have my account information. I gotta repeat everything to them. And I am a small business owner. I do not have time to have one of those calls a day, let alone, you know, 4 different calls like that, where I'm just wait for the entire like the menu. You get to number 9. None of those are going to work. They're like, press 0 to repeat the message. And I'm like, this is not helpful. I cannot handle this.
No.
So, yes, no. I'm like, no, human. And they're like, we don't understand that choice. Please listen to the choices again. And I'm like,
thanks for nothing.
Please.
So you've seen the industry change immensely since 2015. And I would assume too that CYB has changed and morphed into where it is now, which wasn't exactly what the footprint was in 2015, but it's what the industry's needed and is required for the change. What else are you doing? You mentioned something quickly, and I want to talk about that. What else are you doing or environment that you're creating to support businesses?
Yes. So I am actually in the process currently of building out my own community. So it's a virtual community online. And what we are doing in this community is it's going to be an HR focused community. And the individuals that we are inviting into this community are either HR experts that just want to have support and opportunity to network and a place that they can feel comfortable talking. Because, you know, being in a company as an HR department of 1, for example, is super challenging. You have nobody to talk to about it. You can't share personal information with other people. You got to have that boundary. So you have to have somewhere to go. And that's, you know, I have my team at CYB Human Resources, thankful every day for that, because we can talk within each other and, you know, make it not be so awful, and we'll figure out a solution together. But if you're in that situation and it's a small team, this is a great opportunity for them. And then in addition, the other side of that really is focused on HR assistant level or just breaking into the industry up front. And I actually, like I said, we do a lot of content. I was writing a post earlier and it was about, I remember being an HR assistant and I had the amazing opportunity to learn from incredible high level HR professionals. They were bringing me into these meetings that I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Why, like, what do I do? Like, I don't even know what the words that they're using. So that opportunity, I know not everyone gets that opportunity that I had. And I think that if you are just breaking into HR or you're really interested in learning more about how to do it, I think that surrounding yourself with high level HR experts who have been there is the best way to do it. And that's the way we do it internally with CYB as well. When we have an apprenticeship program, and they learn on the job. They get tossed in there into the fire. Learn right now. This is the best way for you to learn. We're here to answer questions. We'll be here to support you, but the best way to learn is just to do it. So
that it is true. It's very true. And I did a lot of field training in my career too, because you can sit behind a computer, you can sit with your face in a book, but it's not real life.
no.
And the importance of learning how to communicate and learning how to ask the correct questions, because if the person is sitting at your desk or sitting on the phone with you and they're having some sort of distress happening, they don't know how to communicate what's going on with them really well, because they're in the moment.
Yes, for sure.
And to learn how to have those meaningful conversations.
Yes.
That's going to help them clarify what's wrong, and then also help you figure out and determine what the correct. You could take one situation, I would assume, and without asking the right questions, head down the wrong path.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that is not a option for us in HR. We need to be obviously very aware of the verbiage that we use overall at any time. And we're number one here to protect the business. Our goal is to make sure that business is successful and protected, the business owner, the management team. But number two, we are really here to have open communication with employees and allow them to voice anything that they're feeling, and allowing them to make the company better by providing feedback. If we don't know what's going on, we can't make a change. And like you said, I mean, reading from a book I love books. Books are great. But you know, if I had the choice between hiring somebody who had 10 years of HR experience in the field, all of that, versus someone with, 10 years of schooling focused in HR and zero experience, I'm hiring the person who has the experience. Because I mean, if you've never fired somebody, reading how to fire somebody from a book is beyond not going to help you at all. Like, it might tell you the legal side of like what you cannot say, but it's a lot different when you're sitting in a room or on a call and people are losing their minds, they're crying, you're changing their life that day. So you have to be prepared for that. You need to know how to respond in the moment. You need to know how to calm people down. And I mean, truly, that's not something that I've ever been able to learn from a book. I'm definitely in the moment, teach me right now, let's do it kind of person. So
yeah, me as well.
Yes.
I can appreciate that.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes through your interactions with clients at CYB, as well as it's not just the responsibility. There's a lot of emotions that are packed into just what you're saying there. If you're dealing with somebody that's losing their job and their livelihood is changing in the moment, that's a lot of pressure to either bring home or learn how not to bring home. And then on top of that, you're managing a team of people. As well as you're starting a new program to help other people support. So not like you didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah,
so,
not like I was really bored. So I figured, why not just, start a community? I don't do well not doing things, clearly. I don't do well just like sitting. It's not my jam. So I need to be, focused on something. And I mean, trust me, if we could spend another week talking about all these ideas that I have, you'd probably be very interested in some of them. But
yeah, totally.
I see something and I'm like, that's not going to work. Let's do something else. Let's do it this way. Let's try it this way. And I have friends that'll say, I don't know how your brain works like that, because many people's don't. They're like, she's a doctor and she's like, I'm very happy with this is the regulation. This is the step to do it. And it's black and white and that's it. I like that. She's like, I don't recognize things as this is a major opportunity for what I could do to do something better or to improve it. So
So how do you
Right.
put the brakes on all those things that are going on in your head, and
Oh.
how do you take care of Katie?
Yeah, great question, actually. So this is perfect timing. I've gone through, the past few months have been just a lot going on. And
Mhm.
I think that there was definitely here, actually, timing really is perfect because last week I actually went through a timing where I was like, I am, as a business owner, you go ups and downs, and remaining
Mhm.
stoic is your goal. And you just tell yourself to remain stoic. And there's going to be amazing ups and there's going to be horrible days. And it's like, you just got to stay in the middle, which is like, in general, not easy, but specifically, I'm a very emotional, empathetic person. So I'm like, this is not easy for me at all. So I think, number one is really setting the time for myself. So that was
Mhm.
something, and it's not easy to do. It does not happen every single day. But I have definitely started setting, I've been using my do not disturb in airplane mode the past, week or so, because I need to shut it down. And if I don't manually shut it down like that, I
It
just
won't happen.
in my head and it won't happen. I'll see an email, I'll get distracted and I need to respond. So that is definitely number one. Number two is definitely having an exercise routine. So, when I first started, I was doing bar and hot yoga 5 days a week.
Mhm.
I try different things. I love being outside. I love hiking and things like that. And being where I am in Colorado right now is great because that
Mhm.
definitely affords me the opportunity to do that. In the winter, skiing. So doing a lot of skiing and networking out there on the chairlifts and meeting new people and that, being surrounded by people that actually support you, whether or not they understand what you're doing. And I
Mhm.
love that, which is, I have my family and my friends. And another reason why being around other business owners and being around other HR experts is a huge part of it for me, because I will tell my loving family and my everyone in my life that loves me so much, they're so proud, and I'll tell them about, this is what's going on, and they will say, oh my gosh, that's so great, or like, that sounds terrible. And like, that's it. Like, they don't
That's
have
it.
any actual like actionable steps that I need to take because they don't necessarily know. They'd love to help, but they just don't
Mhm.
know what to do. So being surrounded and surrounding myself purposely around people that not only love me, obviously, and care about my well-being and make sure that,
Mhm.
I eat and I get out of the house and like I walk my dog and I don't sit in an office all day, but
Mhm.
also surrounding myself on the business side with people that are smarter than me. Like, I do not want to be the smartest person in the room ever. If I'm the smartest person in the room, then I'm in the wrong room
The wrong room.
for sure, because that is not, I want to learn from people that have, done this. And I have outside advisors that I've worked with that are just, they kick ass and they're amazing. And being parts of like the group I'm starting, that kind of stuff, being around other HR experts, or for you, other financial experts, and being able to talk about how crazy situations sometimes get. And you're just like, can you believe this? And just kind of having a casual chit chat so you know that you're not the crazy one, that kind of stuff.
It makes you feel not
And
alone.
yes, exactly. You can really get in your
And
head
I like that. And you're not the crazy one.
and you're not the crazy one. You're like, oh, okay, so this is like, just to confirm,
Yeah.
I'm kind of crazy, but like, this is like really out there, right? And so
Mhm.
like getting their thoughts and then they'll come back with a suggestion, which is great.
Mhm.
Like, have you tried this or tried that? So it's really a combination. Eating right. I try to eat right so much. Like, I try to eat. Let's start with that. Sometimes when you're running a business, you get up, you have an email, you got to respond, you sit down with your coffee, and all of a sudden it's 3 p.m. and you've had nothing to eat. You have not seen the light of day. You have not gone
Yeah.
outside. Like, that is,
That
and
was Monday
yeah,
for
and that's
me.
exactly, there you go. And it happens. I'm not
It
saying it doesn't
does.
happen for sure to
And
me.
then I'm really cranky afterwards.
Oh
It's
my gosh, and I'm
fantastic.
miserable. I'm depressed. I'm like, this is
Yeah, it's
awful. Like,
awful.
why am I doing this? So what made me decide to do this? But yeah, so I really do. I rely heavily on my support system personally to make sure that, I do those things. Cause I'm like, yeah, I'll go for a walk today. It's going to be awesome. And then all of a sudden I've scheduled over my lunch break. I have no
Yeah.
time and it's dark outside. And I'm like, how did that happen? That's not
Mhm.
great. So getting outside for sure.
Mhm.
Like we've talked about,
Yeah.
important. Nature,
Very
disconnecting.
important. And then also I would assume too, supporting your staff on those endeavors as well.
Absolutely. So we are a fully virtual company, and that was
Mhm.
something that was really important to me. And I really wanted to focus on that work-life balance. What we do is really hard. It's challenging. You deal with things across the board. You can be laughing, crying, laughing within a 5-minute period. And so it's really important for them to have the same type of experience. And what we really try hard to do is I don't micromanage. That's like a big thing, you know, I want you to get the job done, answer the clients, be responsible, be kind, support your team members. But other than that, it's remote. You could work on a chairlift, you can work on the beach, you can be wherever you want to be that makes your soul happy and do your work. So it's really an opportunity. I mean, I think not just because it's my own company, but I think that I give a great opportunity for that kind of lifestyle and, you know, having that opportunity to be wherever you want to be, like be where what makes you happy. You want to sit outside by the ocean and work. If you have Wi-Fi on your phone, sounds great to me. Do that.
It's
So
really wonderful because a lot of companies that went virtual, people are still afraid to appear to be someplace other than their office.
yeah, and I mean, and there's lots of pieces there. I don't want to pick anything specific,
Yep.
but you know, a lot of that comes down to the management of these individuals. And I keep bringing up this content. We're talking about all the content that I have just written and wrote. So anyone can visit and check out our LinkedIn newsletter because it's all there. But so this specifically, it comes down to multiple points. You know, you have remote workforce. Number one, you need to trust them. I don't set up things on my employees' keyboards to be able to tell if they're moving their mouse or they're typing or like that. I don't like call them to ask them if they're in the bathroom. Like whatever. Like this is, I'm not standing over you like that. So I trust them. So I've trained them. I've coached them. The hiring process is heavily important in this, is that you hire the right people. Number one, you need to have the right people on your team up front that you trust. And they built that trust, obviously, but people that work's getting done, things are getting done, you know, and they're following instructions, they're showing up on time to meetings, they're there when you call. So, I mean, and that's the most important part, is that they're doing their job and that they're happy doing it.
And
Like,
you're empowering them to do the right thing.
yes, you're empowering your team to do the right thing. You coach them, teach them, and let them fly like a little bird. And you know, not micromanaging and standing over them to make sure they're doing everything exactly right and all of that. You know, we're here to coach and teach you. And you're going to probably make mistakes. I've made more than enough myself, and I continue to make them on a regular basis because business entrepreneurship is not for the weak. But you learn from them and you move forward. And once you know you make that mistake, you learn from it and you just don't do it again. So I think what you're saying is just, it's the management and the hiring process. Really, I agree with you. A lot of people are just, and then you're kind of setting up an opportunity for, you know, you're setting up a situation where you have your employees who feel the need that they need to lie to you, which is like the worst possible situation.
Right.
So the last thing I want to do is say, you need to be at your desk 9 to 5 and and then the employee, they could do their job sitting outside on their patio, but because I've told them they have to do that, they feel the need to lie to me about where they are at that time, which obviously lying is unacceptable at any point. So why, as a manager or as a business owner, would I want to set my team up for a situation where they felt the need to do that?
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's fantastic. So Katie, I've really enjoyed this conversation, and
Me too.
yeah, it's been great. And the services that CYB is providing to small businesses is so needed. And, you know, if you're listening and you have a small business and you don't really know if you're thinking, well, I don't know if, then you do.
Yeah.
You actually do.
Yes.
And we'll make sure that your contact information is in the show notes, but how do people get in touch with your company?
For sure. So the company's name is CYB Human Resources. So cover your bases, human resources. So we are online, cybhumanresources.com. I'd welcome anyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. So Katie Spadoro on LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn newsletter is awesome. We give out a ton of complimentary and free HR tips and tricks. So even if you're not sure, or you don't even know what HR is, or you're not sure if you need it, that's a great place to get, you know, some information and learn a little more about HR.
And get to learn a little bit more about you in your
exactly
company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're an HR person, HR professional, HR assistant, the community is an awesome place. So I mean, that's another thing, is feel free to reach out to me. I love to chat small business. I love to chat entrepreneurship and you know, HR in general, and situations like this. I've loved chatting with you. It's been a great experience to meet you and learn more about you as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope we'll be talking more.
For sure. We will be speaking soon. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show is sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me, and if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.